After 35 years of incredible public service, Police Chief Link Strate recently announced his retirement. I'm Arvada Mayor Marc Williams. I'm joined today with Link Strate, who has just been so important to our community in so many ways. Link, thanks for sitting down.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
How's retirement treating you so far?
So far, it's good. I don't know that I've really gotten a handle on it since it's been the holiday season, but the stress level is reduced significantly.
Link, you and I did a ride-along when you first were named chief. We did a ride around in the car, and you were so confident and just seemed so self-assured and knew that you were the right guy stepping into that job. What's it been like?
It has been an amazing opportunity for me, not just serving as a chief of police. And when I look back on my career, Mayor, actually, while I appreciate that opportunity, what I'm most proud of are all the years I spent as a police officer, a first line supervisor, and all the other bureaus of the organization. That's really what I'm proud of as a police officer and a retired chief. But I was very excited, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One is that the department that was handed over to me was a high-functioning, really high-quality police department. And certainly to be able to serve in the city of Arvada and this community and knowing the support that we had from that community and certainly from our elected officials here, seemed that there was an opportunity to really just kind of take the department a little bit further.
Link, when you and I first sat down and talked in your squad car, some of the issues that you talked about them are still issues we're dealing with. Mental health issues, crime, the homeless issue. How do you see those issues moving forward?
Yeah, all of those issues. And if you remember, we were talking about hiring at that time too. We were down a few officers, and that was before we knew what was on the horizon there with COVID and then the national narrative on law enforcement. Prior to all of that, we were able to get our department up to staff, and we actually had overhired. And then as everybody else experienced, the bottom kind of fell out. And I know Ed will continue that work to bring the highest quality people into this organization, and that really is what separates the Arvada Police Department from others, because of the people that we get in here. But the other issues that you talked about, Mayor, certainly the homeless issue, the mental health, and the crime, I don't know that I had anticipated the issues that we were going to face when I took that job. Certainly COVID, we saw that. We saw a lot of political issues, jail reform, bail reform, sentencing reform. We have seen, without becoming political, we have seen an environment that has made it more difficult on law enforcement to go out there and do their job. And so even in a community like Arvada, we saw a rise in crime. And unfortunately, we saw a rise in violent crime. And we have two horrific examples of two of our officers being killed in the line of duty. But even prior to that, the violence that was perpetrated against our officers was rising to a level that I had not experienced in my career. And that violence has been perpetrated against our own community too. We saw that rise in crime. But what I'm most proud about in that is that our officers weren't deterred by that. None of the things that occurred, none of the frustrations that they dealt with, none of those hurdles that they had to overcome ever stopped them from coming in here, suiting up, putting on that gun and badge, and going out there with the intent to provide the highest level of policing services that they could for this community.
Link, when you talk about the quality of our officers, I certainly echo that. And at your retirement ceremony, I had the opportunity to meet the newest class of hires for the police department. And frankly, it gave me a real sense of, yeah, we're losing a seasoned veteran, and we hate to see you go, but certainly respect you for wanting to retire. But to see the new crop of officers that'll be coming in gives me hope. How do you feel about that?
I think that's always a bright spot, certainly as a chief, but I would say for most senior officers, when we see those recruits come into the organization, Mayor, it is one of those things that generally makes us smile because we remember what it was like. We see that excitement. We know what's ahead of them. And I always tell them, don't hesitate about your career choice, because there is not one ounce of hesitation I would have to do this all over again. If I could do it all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. I absolutely know what's ahead of them, the excitement, the joy. the challenges that they're going to have, but there truly is no career like law enforcement.
Link, you mentioned the loss of our two officers, Gordon Beasley and Dylan Vakoff. And I cannot imagine what you had to go through in terms of first informing families and then managing your team. Had to be tough on you.
You know, it's hard for me to say that, Mayor, because there's nothing that I felt that is comparable to what those families experienced, and I don't want to take anything away from them. It's the worst nightmare, Mayor, for any chief to recognize that one of your officers has been killed on the line of duty. And I think senior leaders are willing to take on that risk, and if we could accept that on their behalf, we would in a heartbeat, but we cannot. And to see that happen to those men was very difficult. Gordon was somebody I knew for 20 years, and he was just the kind of person you wanted to be around. If you could be like Gordon, you knew you would be a decent human being. And then Dylan, I actually got to hire, and I got to bring into the organization and talk to him and kind of see him blossom in his career and become really a high quality police officer. Those things tear the heart out of an organization, and I know that is not just the PD, it's the city as a whole. I know that you felt that, and I know the community felt that. So yes, it was a very difficult thing to go through, and if I'm being honest with you, Mayor, it certainly led to my wanting to retire now. It wasn't what I had anticipated, but I don't know that I had another one of those in me.
Totally understandable. And our community, our city council, our entire city team is so appreciative that you were the person at the helm during those horrible, horrible times. And you just did an incredible job.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think, you know, with the things that I reflected on, and not in a martyr type of a way, but I knew whatever I did, it was not enough for all of the men and women of the Arvada Police Department. And that drove me to make sure that I tried to do everything that I could and tried to appreciate what it was that they were going through. Because while I was in the office working through this, they had to come in, sit down in briefing, and go out there and do their job. From the moment that Gordon was killed and from the moment that Dylan was killed, Arvada police officers continued to go out there and answer calls for service to make sure that this community was safe. That is impressive. Those individuals are truly impressive.
Well, Link, you've earned this retirement without question. What are you going to do?
Great. That's a great question. I've been asked that a lot. The first thing I told my wife, and I told this story too, I told her I was only going to do this job for 20 years. Well, I got 35 years into it. And it is a job that does consume you to a degree, and certainly as the chief, it does. There really is no, and you know this as a mayor, there's no getting away from it. There is always that expectation that you're available to people. So the first thing I want to do is just to try to step back from it, try to get a sense of who I am, reconnect with my family, and then see what the future brings.
That sounds like a great idea. And you talk about family, having family support for everything we do, and certainly for police officers and you as the chief had to be invaluable.
Oh, no question about it. I don't know that, certainly me, I don't know that I would have been able to navigate this job all these years without my beautiful wife, Lisa, and my two amazing daughters, Caitlin and Samantha, and their support of me and their pride in what I did, and knowing that was certainly a key in my longevity and being able to do this job. And so I have a little making up to do.
Well, and you've got four grandchildren.
They are great, and they're grandchildren. They're
right.
My great, yeah, absolutely.
So you get to enjoy them, and let me tell you from experience that that gives you a lot of youth.
Yeah, I think so, and I figured this out. Grandkids are way better than kids.
Because you get to send them home.
That's right. You got it.
Link, again, thank you for your years of service to this community. You've been so incredible for us. We wish you the very best in retirement, and look forward to your future travel adventures and life with your family.
Thank you very much, Mayor.